Okay, this is the final video for chapter 11. It says here, populism regarded itself as a class movement, reasoning that farmers and workers were assuming the same material position in society. An editorial in the Farmers Alliance spoke of a man working 14 to 16 hours a day. He is brutalized both morally and physically. He has no ideas, only propensities. He has no beliefs, only instincts. Norman Polak sees that a homespun version of Marx's idea of workers' alienation from his human self under capitalism and finds many other parallels between populists and Marxist ideas. Undoubtedly, populists, along with most white Americans, had racism and nativism in their thinking, but part of it was that they simply did not think race as important as the economic system. Thus, the Farmers Alliance said, "The People's Party has sprung into existence not to make the black man free, but to emancipate all men to gain for all industrial freedom, without which can be no political freedom." More important than theoretical connections were the populist expressions of support for workers in actual struggles. On top of the serious failures to unite blacks and whites, city workers and country farmers, there was the lure of electoral politics. All of that combining to destroy the populist movement. Once allied with the Democratic Party, the pressure for electoral victory led populism to make deals with major parties in city after city. If the Democrats won, it would be absorbed. If the Democrats lost, it would disintegrate. Electoral politics brought to the top of leadership the political brokers instead of the agrarian radicals. It was a time, as election times have often been in the United States, to consolidate the system after years of protest and rebellion. The black was being kept under control in the South. The Indian was being driven off the Western Plains for good. On a cold winter day, the U.S. Army soldiers attacked Indians camped at Wounded Knee, South Dakota, and killed 300 men, women, and children. It was the climax to 400 years of violence that began with Columbus establishing that this continent belonged to the white man, but only to certain white men, because it was clear by 1896 that the state stood ready to crush labor strikes by the law if possible, by force if necessary, and where a threatening mass movement developed, the two-party system stood ready to send out one of its columns to surround that movement and drain it of vitality. And as always, as a way of drowning class resentment in a flood of slogans for national unity, there was patriotism. The supreme act of patriotism was war. 2 years after McKinley became president, the United States declared war on Spain. All right, that is the end of chapter 11. So chapter 12 is titled The Empire and the People. We're going to see what the United States did yet again to quell the rumblings that were taking place within the country. It's pretty obvious by now that the way to do that is to go to war. So the United States is now going to go to Cuba. It's going to go against Spain. It's going to go to the Philippines. This is where we're going to see the United States really lean into imperialism. Let me know what y'all think about this chapter. And let me know how this connects to the present day. What's coming up for you? Let's have this conversation over on Patreon as well. This is limited, obviously, to the comments and to stitches and duets, which are great. But if you want to have more in-depth conversations, I'm going to be putting way more effort into Patreon this week because I have more capacity and I'm at home. So I look forward to hearing what you have to say. And I'm also finally going to put together that document of recommended books to read. So stay tuned. And as always, thank you for being here.